Previously on the Seegers Family Edifice Venture. It seemed like we had a case of construction ADD as we moved from project to project. We started with siding the south side of the building and then switched to working on something completely new to us.
We're finishing up the edges of the greenhouse roof that butt up against the exterior walls of a normal house.
Soon we were distracted and went inside to grout the tile in the kitchen.
When you have high tiles, what kind of problems does that cause?
Usually your wife cusses when she stubs her toe.
Like the wind, our minds changed again and we moved back outside to put more siding up.
So we are going to do the siding on the east side of the house today and hopefully be able to get that all done.
A deadline then caused us to switch directions and move into the greenhouse to work.
Since we bought this without this structure on here and we rebuilt it, we had to get a building permit for new construction. We're running really short on our building permit because it expires at the end of the month.
It was then off to the kitchen where we did some work in the ceiling.
One of these pieces has to go in between the 2x4s and a 16-inch center. The purpose of these rafter vents is to keep the insulation from pushing all the way up against the roof of the building.
Construction ADD really set in as we reconstructed what we already had constructed.
We're going to put studs in this area right here that at one time was going to be one of the doors to the kitchen. In between, in the wider opening, what was once going to be a breakfast bar is now going to be the entrance to the kitchen.
And the kids found a couple of toads to play with.
No, don't hold it that way, it'll pee on you. It can get you warm. Yeah, it got warm coming.
If you like our video series, you'll love our website. Check it out at www.edificeventure.com. See pictures, read blogs, find cool links, plus information and tips to help you get started on your own green, sustainable home improvement projects.
Well, we got 4 kids, a cat, and a dog, and we're looking for an open space where we can stretch our legs and start a new life and build us a greener place. Our structure stood with no inner walls and a big hole in the roof. Now it's hard to build the American dream, and brother, this is living proof. A giant labor of love is falling down on County Road 1. But with TLC and nature's harmony, we can keep it from coming undone. Seegers Family Edifice Venture, a practical way to go green. Seegers Family Edifice Venture, show you something that you've never seen.
The Seegers Family Edifice Venture is sponsored in part by Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County, building decent affordable housing with people in need. WVPE 88.1, a NPR station. Inform, entertain, inspire. Anco Products Incorporated, our energy saves you energy. And Heritage Antique Lumber, crafting fine furniture, custom cabinetry, and trim using lumber from historic barns.
November 22nd, 2009. We already had a portion of the ceiling that would not have electrical work running through it insulated. Since that portion had no electrical, we could also drywall it.
These gloves suck for carrying drywall. They don't give you any gripping power.
It was a light work day. We only put 4 sheets of drywall up. Here's a drywalling tip that you can use. After you have a sheet secured enough to stay in place, use a chalk line to mark where the studs run. That way you'll be sure to hit the studs with the drywall screws. The drywall went up quick, but the insulation went up quicker. We are using Textrifine insulation. Not only is it very green, it's easy to install. It cuts with a utility knife, and it stays in the studs without having to use staples.
The boys just got little helper kits, which include hard hat, suspenders, tool belts with tools and pencils. So we should never lose pencils again because that's their job, to get the utensils here. Hold that.
December 30th, 2009. We finally had a plan in stone for the layout of the kitchen.
Alright, this is what our kitchen is going to look like.
Well, that shows at least half the kitchen. Let's take a more detailed look at the layout. The overall dimensions are 20 feet by 14 feet, giving us 280 square feet of space to work with. The space will be divided in two, with a half wall defining two separate areas. The left side will be for food preparation, and the right will be a dining area. Don't forget, we bought the countertops before the cabinets, so everything was designed around them. This was the best layout of the countertops that we could see, but we would still have to cut the quartz later to make it fit. Yeah, that should be some interesting video by itself. We also decided to build additional walls on each side of the entrance to compensate for the imaginary kitchen cabinets. The appliances will be placed between or under the counterpieces as such. Range-top stove, refrigerator, under-counter dishwasher, and an under-counter wall oven. Our current home has the minimal amount of electric receptacles, which most of the time is a major inconvenience. So we went all out. We installed 8 15-amp receps in the dining area and 9 20-amp receps above the counters for general appliances like a toaster, blender, and can opener, to name a few. Each major appliance was put on its own breaker. The range-top stove will be wired with a 50-amp breaker. The disposal, dishwasher, refrigerator, and microwave will be wired to a 20-amp breaker, and the under-counter wall stove a 30-amp breaker. One important note, all outlets in the preparation side will be connected to a GFI breaker. For lighting, each side will have its own switch that will power 3 inset ceiling lights. Additionally, a fan will be installed on each side with separate switches. This will help in reducing the amount of power consumption. That way, if only one area is being used, we can cut the total number of lights powered in half. So with a plan in place, it was time to get busy.
It's a punching bag.
It's all fun and games, so punching back.
Hey, Jim. Jim, are you a plumber?
Okay, I mean really, get busy.
We're running all the electric cables through the wall. We have to leave about a foot hanging out of the box with the end stripped back so when they do the inspection they can see the wiring unconnected, and that's called the rough out. While we're putting these in, one thing we're making sure of that our receptacle boxes are 18 inches off the ground. That's handicap accessible, which my mom is handicapped, so we wanted to make sure that we had everything accessible for her in the home. When you're drilling the holes to the studs, you got to make sure that you're centered in the stud, and the hole is what, Jim?
At least an 1.25 inch clearance on both sides.
And we're putting a 3/4 inch hole through the studs, and you have to make sure that they're centered in the studs when you drill those through.
To best utilize our time, Jim continued to work on the electricity, and I started, with the help of the boys,
I'm drilling it too.
on the half wall in the center of the kitchen.
Okay, draw the line.
Of course, something wasn't measuring up right.
Why is it shorter?
What's shorter?
That's shorter than that.
Holy crap. How'd that happen? Those are 35, right?
No way.
This wasn't the first time, nor would it be the last time I would have to take something apart and start over again. I may have been upset, but the boys were just happy to help. Thanks for taking that apart, boys. Flashback. We bought the building in December of 2005. We began the rehab in March of 2006. 3 years passed and it was now January 2009. Looking at what was completed to date, it appeared we hadn't done much. The month of January wouldn't help our progress either. The snow started falling and we were only able to work one day, January 2nd, 2009. The day we put in the recessed lighting and boxes for the fans. The first step was to figure the center for each side for placement of the fan boxes. Sometimes I think we're mathematically challenged.
1/16, so that would be 58.
Okay, half the width was simple, but the length a little more challenging with a measurement of 165 inches. The fastest way to figure half the length for me is to fold the tape measure in half. But Penny insisted on amazing us with her mathematical genius.
What's it say?
So it's going to be 80.
2.5.
Hold on, let me figure it out. Let me see if I can get it. Half of 100 is 50, half of 60 is 30, and half of 5 is 2.5, so 82 and a half.
Yep, that's what you got. And it was faster than yours.
Even when your math is right, things still don't figure out correctly in a building this old. The bar the fan box would be mounted to was 16 inches long, at a minimum. The truss is more or less 16 inches on center.
Uh-oh. We have a bigger problem.
Yep, the space between the two trusses was less than 16 inches by an inch.
So you just have to cut the very tip off, about a half inch off.
So we had to make a modification to make it fit.
Alright.
Everything went smoother after we modified the fan hangers. By the end of the day, we had the fan boxes mounted, the inset lighting installed, and ran the wire to the breaker box to be connected at a later date. Stay tuned to the Seegers Family Edifice Venture. Coming up next, Penny speaks to a design instructor from E10, and we have our electric inspected.
Heritage Antique Lumber is a small, family-run business.
We reclaim lumber and we turn it into something you can be proud of and you will be happy with.
The uniqueness of our cabinetry is one of a kind.
Heritage Antique Lumber makes furniture, crafts, mirrors, frames, and more using reclaimed barnwood.
We at Heritage Antique Lumber consider ourselves more than just craftsmen. We are also artists.
Visit our website and see our quality, heritageantiquelumber.com.
88.1 WVPE Public Radio is a vital communication resource that strives to inform, entertain, and inspire. National Public Radio is an internationally acclaimed producer and distributor of non-commercial news, talk, and entertainment programming. WVPE serves local listeners with a distinctive blend of national and local programming and annual events. In 2008, WVPE launched a sustainability initiative which includes green events and programs. Learn more at WVPE.org.
The month of January was not very productive. Once the snow hit, it was impossible getting to the building. I suggested to Penny we get a snowblower. She didn't say no, but the look on her face didn't say yes either. On February 1st, 2009, we found a guy to plow us out for $20 and on a Sunday. February 12th, 2009, Penny attended the Elkhart River Alliance grant approval meeting. We had applied for a grant to build a rain garden at our Goshen home. You might be wondering what a rain garden is. It is a garden designed to collect stormwater runoff from your property. As the committee members looked over the proposal, they awarded our project points based off what we had planned to do. In anticipation, Penny waited to see if we had enough points for approval.
71, one of our best scores. Congratulations.
February 13th, 2009. The first part of the day, we put up drywall. Steve Clark, one of my students who lived nearby, dropped in to lend a hand. So what did he think about putting up drywall?
This job sucks.
Later in the afternoon, with the help of my cousin, Jim Hagan, we worked on the electricity. We spent most of the afternoon pulling wire, or maybe we were looking for the wire we wanted to pull.
There you moved it. Got it.
Once the wire was pulled, we finished connecting the switches.
We have electricity.
No lights.
But we didn't have any bulbs on hand to verify that. February 14th was a huge benchmark for us. The lights in the kitchen were completely wired, and we now had the bulbs to test our work. We gave Coy and Zane the honors of flipping the switches.
In 3, 2, 1. Flip them. Yay, we have lights.
February 16th. Knowing we had an electrical inspection coming up in 2 days, Jim and I spent the day checking our work and finishing up any projects that we left undone related to the kitchen wiring. February 17th. Penny met with Rhonda Michelin, an interior design instructor at Ivy Tech College. Rhonda came to the building to see if the kitchen and greenhouse would be viable projects for her students to come up with a design. After her tour, she thought it would be a great challenging assignment and would present it to her students. February 18th, our inspector Ron Weiss takes a look at our work. We did everything correct except for one thing.
Yeah, so to staple like this one, you can pull that over and get enough wire in there to staple those.
So even the run like this has to be put up over here.
Everything has to be stapled within 8 inches of the box.
All right.
That way, people jerking on them, they don't pull the whole wire out.
All right, we had our rough wire okayed on Wednesday, but we do have one thing we have to fix. What happened was we ran the wire coming into the receptacle boxes. Most places we have a staple from the wire going to the box within 8 inches of that box. There are a few spots where we did not staple the wire, as in this spot right here. We did not staple this to the stud. As I said, all wires going into the receptacle box have to be stapled within 8 inches of that receptacle box. So some of the wires we had to pull out completely, put new wires in because the wires weren't long enough to staple, like this one here. Some of the others we were able to get enough length and then staple them down. So we're going to fix that and then we'll be able to put drywall on.
Stay tuned to the Seegers Family Edifice Venture. Coming up next, I'll demonstrate a tool that makes putting up drywall much easier.
Since the early 1960s, texture-fine insulation has been an environmentally friendly product. Our unique process diverts millions of pounds of fiberglass scrap from landfills each year. Today, high-quality standards have made Anco Products a world-class industry leader in high-tensile strength, resilient insulation products.
Anco products include laminated metal building insulation,
insulated flexible duct system,
and indoor air quality GreenGuard certified texture-fine insulation.
Green isn't a new initiative. We started in the 60s.
Anco Products, our energy saves you energy.
Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County does more than build houses for those in need. They provide education on personal finance, homeownership, parenting, and other life skills to help those moving into these houses turn them into homes. Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County, working with people from all walks of life to build simple, decent, affordable homes. For more information on how you can help, visit www.habitatec.com.
February was a great month for progression on the kitchen. We put in recessed lighting, ran the electricity to the breaker box, and started putting up some drywall.
The one thing I really hate to do is to put up drywall. It's heavy and it's dusty, and one of the things I have the most difficulty doing is cutting those holes out for the receptacle boxes. But I found a tool that makes that job simple. It's called the Primo Rockout. You have 3 parts to this tool. You have the guide pins, you have the guide plate, and you have the knock plate. The guide pins go into the receptacle box. And make sure that you're using plastic receptacle boxes because this tool will not work with metal boxes. To get a better idea how this tool works, let's take a look at some footage of me actually using a Primo Rockout to cut out a hole in drywall. To get started, place the guide pins in the screw holes of the receptacle box. Take your first piece of drywall and you screw it to the top, and then you lower it down and push it against the guide pins until they poke through the drywall. The guide plate does exactly what it says. It guides the blades of the knock plate. Once you have the knock plate fitted around the guide plate, you're going to take a hammer and you're going to hit it a couple times on the top part of this. Then you're going to move down to the bottom and then go back to the top. And you're going to do this until the knock plate back is flush with the drywall. Then you're just going to take the knock plate and you're going to move it back and forth and pull it out of the drywall. And there you have a nice clean hole with very little dust. We have snow in the building. As you can see, that's not dust coming through that. That's actually snow. It looks like a snow machine. I guess around Christmas this will be really festive to have in the house. It's not even Christmas time, it's actually February. Almost March and we're still getting snow. Penny finally got here today after taking Zane to a birthday party, and when she got here things really started rolling along with her help. So we got all the backers up in the kitchen except for the area that she made a mistake and had us put drywall up on the wall there, and we didn't have backers up yet. So we're gonna have to take her mistake down, put the backers up. Your mistake.
Your mistake.
Your mistake.
Yours.
I
You
did.
stop me. His fault.
This adult discussion, whether the mistake was mine or hers,
her fault.
His fault.
Her fault.
would continue throughout the backer project.
His fault.
In case you missed what we were doing, we were putting backer boards up. The backer boards make hanging cabinets easier. No matter where you put the screw to secure the cabinets, you will hit wood. Without them, you will have to make sure you hit a stud. To put backer boards up, first prepare the area by taking the insulation out and remove any nails that are protruding. Then rip the thickness of your backers from 2x4s to use as spacers. Secure the 2x4 spacers to the inner sides of the studs. Cut your backer material to size, place the backers within the studs and screw them into the spacers. March 31st, 2009. Earlier in the program, Rhonda Michelin, a design instructor at Ivy Tech Community College in South Bend, said she would ask for student volunteers to design the interior of our kitchen and greenhouse. 3 students stepped up for the challenge. But why?
I thought it would really be interesting. Good experience.
And I thought it would be a fun and interesting challenge to take on.
I'm an HGTV addict. I love watching renovations and that sort of thing.
And what were some of their ideas?
The kitchen is one of the major rooms that we're looking at.
I was thinking about the possibility of a banquette in the kitchen area so that there's enough seating for a family of 7.
Arranging, making sure it flows nice in the kitchen, everything flows well, and workspace as well.
In the greenhouse, I like the ideal of them wanting to have a water feature.
There's a staircase, that was cement staircase that is there, and it's not going anywhere. And so how do you make that a useful item?
You can do a lot with the waterfall, making the planter boxes.
The overall project of this whole building, it looks like a lot of work.
Coming up next on the Seegers Family Edifice Venture, we'll show you what's coming up on our next show.
The Seegers Family Edifice Venture is sponsored in part by Habitat for Humanity of Elkhart County, building decent, affordable housing with people in need. WVPE 88.1, a NPR station. Inform, entertain, inspire. Anco Products Incorporated, our energy saves you energy. And Heritage Antique Lumber, crafting fine furniture, custom cabinetry, and trim using lumber from historic barns.
If you like our video series, you'll love our website. Check it out at www.edificeventure.com. See pictures, read blogs, find cool links, plus information and tips to help you get started on your own green, sustainable home improvement projects. Next time on the Seegers Family Edifice Venture, our kitchen is fitted for cabinets, and the 3 Ivy Tech design students that took on the kitchen/greenhouse interior decorating challenge make their presentation to Penny.